Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into one of the absolute biggest goals in all of economics, and that is, how do you set up a society to maximize everyone's well-being? It is a huge question, so let's just get right into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with this central puzzle. How in the world can you improve things for some people without taking anything away from anyone else? I know, it sounds kind of like a magic trick, right? But believe it or not, finding the answer to that is the whole point of the search for economic efficiency.
So, our journey starts with this really fundamental conflict, which brings us to our first section, the ultimate economic goal. We're going to look at that constant tug of war between scarcity, what we have, and welfare, what we all want.
And this right here really sums up the whole game of economics. We've only got so much stuff. Land, labor, technology, it's all finite. So the challenge is to arrange all of it in a way that gets the absolute most satisfaction or welfare for everybody. That perfect arrangement, that's what economists call economic efficiency.
So, how do we actually know when we've hit that maximum satisfaction? Well, this brings us to a brilliantly simple idea for measuring improvement. Let's call it the no losers rule, which introduces us to the core concept for this whole explainer, Pareto optimality. So what exactly is it? Well, a state of Pareto optimality means the economy is just perfectly arranged. You've squeezed out every single last drop of efficiency. At this point, any change you might try to make to help one person would have to harm someone else. It's kind of like the theoretical finish line for a perfectly efficient economy. Let's make this super simple. Imagine a tiny little economy with just two people, person A and person B. Right now, they both start out with a well-being level of 10. This is our baseline. Okay, now let's say we make a change. We rearrange some resources. And look what happens. Person A is no worse off. They're still at level 10. But person B's well-being has jumped up to 12. That, right there, is a Pareto improvement. We've made the society better off overall, and this is the crucial part. We did it without creating any losers. The goal is to just keep making these kinds of improvements until no more are possible. But reaching that perfect state, it isn't just one big leap. To get to Pareto optimality, an economy actually has to satisfy three very specific conditions. So let's look at what I'm calling the three keys, or maybe the pillars of a perfect economy. So to hit that sweet spot, three things have to be true. You need exchange efficiency, production efficiency, and product mix efficiency. Let's break down what each of those really means. All right, first up, exchange efficiency. This is all about distribution. Think of it this way. If you have a sandwich you don't really want and I have a drink I don't want, we can trade, and boom, we're both happier. An economy is exchange efficient when all those win-win trades have already happened. Basically, the goods are in the hands of the people who value them the most. Second, we've got production efficiency. This is about making stuff in the smartest possible way. It means we're using our resources so well that we couldn't possibly make more of one thing, say more cars, without having to produce less of something else, like buses. We're on the cutting edge, getting the absolute maximum output from our inputs. And the final piece of the puzzle is product mix efficiency. This is where it all comes together. See, it's not enough to just be good at making things. We have to be good at making the right things. So if society decides it wants more healthcare and less reality TV, this efficiency makes sure that our resources actually shift to produce that exact mix. So how on earth can a complex, modern economy actually pull off all three of these things at the same time? Well, the most famous answer in economics is to let prices do the work, through what's famously known as the invisible hand mechanism. I mean, you've really got two main approaches here. On one hand, you could have a central authority, some government committee, deciding everything, what gets made, who gets what. That's government fiat. The other way is the price system, where there is no central planner. Instead, millions of individual choices guide resources automatically, as if by an invisible hand. And yep, this is that classic idea from Adam Smith. What he argued was that when we all act in our own self-interest, you trying to find the best deal on a coffee, the cafe owner trying to turn a profit, the market coordinates these millions of decisions into an outcome that's actually efficient for everyone. You see, prices act as these incredibly powerful information signals. They tell you, the consumer, how to get the most for your money. They tell producers how to make things at the lowest possible cost. And the difference in price between, say, a laptop and a pencil, that signals to the entire economy what we, as a society, value most, automatically pulling resources to where they're most desired. Okay, that's the theory, but what does this look like in the real world? Let's make it concrete with an example we can all wrap our heads around. Let's take a look at how the price system allocates land in the real estate market. So here's our scenario. It's pretty simple. Imagine there's a big cultural shift, and the dream of owning a home becomes way more popular. People's preferences are just changing, from renting to buying. So here's our starting point. The market is in a stable state. You've got a steady price for renting a house and a steady price for buying one. Everything is pretty much in balance. But then after that shift in demand, look what happens. More people trying to buy pushes the sale price of houses up. At the same time, with fewer renters, the monthly rental price starts to fall. These new prices are a direct signal from society saying, hey, we value owning more and renting less. And the market listens. Developers see those higher sale prices and think, aha, we should build more homes for sale. Landlords see the falling rents and might decide to just sell their properties instead. And just like that, without any central command, resources, land, capital, labor automatically move from a lower valued use to a higher valued one. It's all guided by price. Now, that real estate example makes the price system sound absolutely flawless, doesn't it? But this perfect efficiency only really happens in an ideal world. So what are the conditions that have to be met for that perfect market to even exist? Yeah, for the invisible hand to work its magic perfectly, a few, kind of impossible conditions have to be met. You'd need a perfect market with zero barriers. Everyone would need perfect information, knowing everything all at once. Resources would have to move from one use to another with zero friction. And this is a big one, there can't be any externalities. Side effects like pollution, which is a very real cost to society that doesn't show up in a product's price.
And this right here brings us to our final and probably most important thought. Since real markets are never perfect, we're left with this massive question. What's the right balance? How much should we rely on the self-correcting invisible hand of the market? And where do we need deliberate intervention to fix its flaws? Finding that sweet spot is one of the absolute biggest challenges for economists and policymakers today.